Teachers Standard 5D. Have a clear understanding of the needs of all pupils, including those with special educational needs, those of high ability, those with English as an additional language, those with disabilities, and be able to use and evaluate distinctive teaching approaches to engage and support them. So here's a lesson that I did on the British Empire. So what were the main reasons for Britain's expansion into overseas colonies? So what I've done here is thinking about the needs of all the pupils I had in my class. I've got one of the pupils, Tahira, and she has a visual impairment. So I've blown up the A4 sheets on the countries of the British Empire to A3 for Tahira, as she has a visual impairment. I've also sent a copy of the lesson plan across to Tahira so she can access it on her computer during the lesson. I've also copied the resources onto yellow paper for Maisie and Liska, as they have dyslexia. They do not have to use them, but they are available should they need them. So here is a copy of the email that I sent to Tahira. Here's the lesson plan for today's lesson, and then she can access that on her computer when she comes into the lesson in the morning. Now, with regards to the lesson plan here, I've got the source at the beginning and then the keywords, which the pupils can then copy out. But when they were looking at this task here, which was the main task for the lesson, as you can see, they've got Australia, India, South Africa and Caribbean, and they've got fact sheets which they can pull the information out and then answer those questions. So using information about these 4 countries, it is up to you to complete this grid from the information. Now here, what I've done is I've got the first 3 modelled for them. So this is to help out the pupils that may struggle or not quite understand what they're doing. So for Australia, colonisation began in 1788 and then became independent in 1986. Why was this country important for Britain? Here are the details. And then one of the harder questions, identify one fact about the relationship between Britain and this country. The foundation of educational system more advanced than any other in West Africa is established. So these are set out for some of the lower ability pupils that just need a little helping hand in terms of getting started, and they can fill out those boxes straight away. And then what I've done is I've added in an extension. So any pupils that get this done finished or find it easier, they can draw a poster for one of the 4 countries to tell people back home why it is so special. And then moving on, what the next task was is how would the colonies have felt about being part of the empire? So for each country they need to think about what was good or what was bad about being part of the empire, and then explain which country had the best deal or the worst deal. Again, I've put another extension. Look back at your map and think about why Britain would want to make some of those other countries part of the empire. And then for the following task, I've actually written out the sentence starters here. So I think that is the biggest incentive for Britain to have an empire because. So I've got the extension tasks for the higher ability pupils, and they can get on with those if they feel that they've finished early. I've got everything done. Then I've also got the sentence starters for the pupils that may find the beginning part of the writing slightly harder. This just gives them a little help, and then obviously they get the confidence that they can do the next one. And I say to them, you know, if you've done the first one using the sentence starter, maybe try and do the next one without. And then finally, just to really get everyone involved, I did the plenary based on the game Taboo. So who can talk about what you've learnt today for 1 minute without saying the words Empire or British? Now this was actually a really good plenary. I think, to be honest, it's probably the best plenary I've done this term, just because it got everyone involved, and all the pupils were kind of helping each other out, saying what they learnt without using the words Empire or British. And I managed to get around to most of the pupils in the class. And unlike some of the other plenaries that I've done, where I only get maybe 1 or 2 hands up, everyone wanted to have a go. I think this has kind of shown me that some of these more interactive, more fun kind of plenaries, as long as they're focusing back on the learning objective, are really useful. And they get the pupils involved and engaged. And that's the key for me, to get the pupils wanting to learn about the topic that we're doing. So overall, I think this lesson actually went really well because I had added in kind of the extensions for the higher ability, but then also added in, you know, the sentence starters, the modelling and the prompts for some of the lower abilities, but then also put provisions in place for SEN pupils as well.